Hey, so I know I haven't uploaded in a while. I've sort of been busy. I was doing one prop and it didn't quite go to plan, so I've sort of put that on pause. And I'm just going to do a helmet now. So this is the Red Ronin helmet. Doesn't look like much at the moment. This is sort of just the base plate. So this was from the files from Maker World by Budwin 3D. I shall drop a screenshot and a link in the comments or description. But yeah, so literally printed out really nicely. The only part that I did have an issue with was the front faceplate, because it was sort of orientated up like that and it snapped around here. So I've sort of just leant it back like that at about 30 degrees and printed it like that. Only downside is you will have to sand it a bit more. But other than that, every other part printed perfect. The main base part took about 20, 21, 22 hours to fully do it. But I mean, it's come out and it looks fantastic. And you don't actually have to worry too much about the layer lines on the dome because they're going to be covered. Pretty much get covered by a few pieces. So you'll have that piece that goes on there, covers half of it. And then you've got this sort of, this is the main sort of piece that sort of clips on. I'm not going to push it in because it is quite difficult to take off. I have tried it. I'm going to have to put them all back on just so I can sort of gauge where I'm going to stick black. So it's definitely going there, around here, but then you've also got black going around the eyes and ever so slightly by here. So I got to put all the face plates back on, and then sort of what I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw a line or scratch a line in. Probably draw it, be safer. So yeah, draw a line, Sharpie, marker pen, whatever, just so you can get the reference on what needs to be black. I mean, if you're printing it in black, probably won't have to worry too much about it, but I'm printing it in grey. I have got some parts in black though. So yeah, I did go ahead and paint one part of it just because I wanted to test the reds that I already have. Now, this has come out quite dull, not very shiny, so I wasn't too happy with it. So quite bright as well. I thought it would be darker. So what I've done now is I've ordered a metallic red, and it's by Motip. If you've watched any of my previous videos, it's the spray putty primer that I've used before, but for this one I'm just using regular because it doesn't need much work. I mean, spray putty probably would have made it easier, especially on this. But yeah, I ran out and haven't actually got more. So yeah, I've ordered that. That's coming soon. By the time it swaps over to the next segment, I will have already had it. But yeah, it just looked like a really cool design to do, and I thought I wanted to give it a go with metallic paints because most of them I haven't used metallic on, or I haven't used any paints on. So yeah, just sort of wanted to give it a go, really. It's quite easy to slice. I mean, just I'd done it on my phone, most of it. The only part that I had to do on my laptop was the front part. And that's only because I had to reorientate it. But everything else was literally just done off the Bambu Studio app. I mean, really simple, easy to print, and magnets. So they'll sort of fit together on the back. Probably should mention that. So they'll fit like that. And then these bits also have magnet holes in the back, and they'll just sort of line up onto there. So yeah, it's a really cool design. It sort of looks like an Iron Man helmet, but it's not an Iron Man helmet. Yeah, it's really cool, and I just thought I wanted to print it because over the next coming weeks, I will be moving on to an Iron Man helmet. I've got it printed. It is literally just in a box there, and half a suit. I think I've got the abs and the legs to do, but I've got big legs, so I'm gonna have to measure them, and I just don't want the suit turning out improportionate. So, like, having it up here, and then because I've got rugby player legs, having the suit come out all pear shaped. But yeah, so we'll get it sanded. Well, we'll get the rest of it sanded, and we'll get it painted. So now we've got it primed and wet sanded. Didn't do too much on the dome and other bits that aren't actually going to be shown from when you put the paneling on. So these sort of slot over and you won't be able to notice them. So I've sort of just left those sort of parts because I didn't see the point in putting the extra work in if they're just going to get covered up. So bits that matter most, like sides here, around the eyes, and there's like a line that sort of goes around the paneling. I've done that as well. I also managed to get the red that I wanted. That's how it looks. It is very shiny, and it is a very nice color. It's been clear coated as well, so you get the extra gloss. So yeah, hopefully it'll all come together how I envision it. Yeah, let's get it painted. So that pretty much sums it up. Now, if you're looking to go do one yourself, got a few pointers. So sandpaper wise, I've used 60 on the initial sanding just to get those layer lines shaved down. I did use a power sander. If you don't have a power sander, you're going to have to put more work in. Yeah, 20 minutes on a power sander compared to an hour of sanding. So probably worth getting one. So yeah, and then just sort of go up. I only went up to about, I think it was about 200, 300 grit on the initial sand before I primed it. Primed it, used some normal, any primer, any will work. I'm quite a fan of Motip's spray putty because it just fills in that little bit extra of the layer lines, gives you a bit of an easier job. This one, however, I just use regular primer. So once you've done that, hit it with some sandpaper, wet sand. So I think I used 600 grit and just sort of went over it, and it was lovely and smooth. You can go higher, you don't necessarily need to, but that's up to you. Now, paint wise, I just used they're behind me. So for the black, I used Decton black gloss. Went on really simple, really easy. Now, I did try Decton's red. Wasn't the color I was looking for. So I went with Motip again, and it is a metallic red. Now, this stuff is phenomenal. It comes out so clean, but wear your respirator because it does give off some fumes. Nice smelling fumes, but you don't want to be breathing that in, especially for long-term health. It will affect you. But yeah, and then I think it was 26 8x2 magnets. So they sort of just go around the back plate because it does actually detach. The EMFs also detach, and they sort of just clip on. like that. So what I've done with the EMFs though, it takes 4 magnets. So I've sort of alternated to each side. So it'll always sort of hit that right spot. Better way to do it is just flip one of them, and then that one will actually line up in the right place every time. But yeah, so that sort of just wraps it up, and wasn't really much of a tutorial. It was more of a show and tell of what you can do, like, you know, even if you're just getting into it. But you know, all got to start somewhere at the end of the day. And I've started making videos. I have made like a few helmets. I haven't made too many. So I'm sort of still a beginner at this stage. So, and look what you can achieve. Yeah, stay tuned for the next video because it's going to be a good one.